What's up, guys? I am Caleb Giddings.
I'm Keith Finch.
And I'm Jack.
Ooh,
He's still Jack.
Sato voice with the intro this week.
And we are brought to you by these guys.
So now that we've got that out of the way, we're going to get into this episode. And this week we're talking politics because it's rare that I see a piece of legislation that's so dumb. I'm like, did you not have Google when you wrote this? Is there no one in your staff that has ever been in a gun store? Which I know the answer to that is probably yes. But Keith, why don't you tell them about what the piece of legislation that Senator Booker he's New Jersey, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although he mentions Connecticut a lot for some reason. I don't understand why.
Because he's from Connecticut.
So Cory Booker has single-handedly solved terrorism, ladies and gentlemen, and he has solved it through the cunning use of the federal firearms license. He has invented the federal firearms license. And if you're out there going, oh, but wasn't that a thing already from the laws? Not according to Cory, apparently, because he redone did it.
I'll put a link to the bill in the show.
It's the remix, yo.
Mr. 305.
This time with extra dumb.
So I'll put a link to this in the show notes to the actual text of the bill, which the good news about this bill is this is one of those things this isn't even going to make it out of committee.
This is probably never going to see the light of day outside of committee, but it's so dumb we have to talk about it. So it's the Federal Firearms Licensing Act.
Which, if you guys are confused and you're listening to this and you're like, aren't federal firearms licenses already a thing? You'd be right. They are.
100% are. I have one.
It's the full name too.
Yeah.
So what baffles me about this is it was like they were like, what should we call this? And they're like, federal firearm license. They're like, oh God, I like how that sounds. Put it up. And no one Googled, no one checked.
If they had titled it something like federal personal firearms license, or put the individual federal firearms license, or so, literally add one word, and we probably wouldn't even have done this episode. We probably would have been like, this is a dumbass bill. But they literally called it the Federal Firearms Licensing Act. And I'm like, the thing that already exists.
It gets better, ladies and gentlemen. It gets better. Because not only does it already exist, it's like the same exact application process with none of the benefits.
So what do I get by getting Cory Booker's federal firearms license?
You get the ability to purchase one firearm within 30 days of getting your federal firearms license.
Oh, so this isn't a license as much as it's a one-time fee. That's even dumber.
Yep.
I'm reading through it now,
every
time. Are you kidding?
For every gun. It can take up to 30 days. The DOJ graciously said it will take no longer than 30 days. We totally promise. That's never been broken in the history of ever. The government doing things on time. But you have 30 days to get your one firearm, which is absolutely backdoor registration too. It's not even backdoor registration. It's just blatant registration. You get to the end of the bill and it's like, oh, well, we have to log the make, model, and serial number of the firearm and who it's coming from and who it's going to. And this isn't a bound book. This is just straight up information given to the DOJ.
Nice.
But the federal firearms license, the new federal firearms license, which has none of the benefits of the current federal firearms license, certifies that an individual completed firearms safety training, which must include a written test, hands-on training to ensure safe use and accuracy. So you have to be accurate. It says so. It's a completion of a criminal history background check, which gets even better because does that exempt you from NICS? Can you just go pick up a gun? No, it doesn't exempt you from NICS at all. You get to do another background check because double background checks.
Wait, how
So much
many
better.
how many background checks are, because I just picked up a gun and I'm pretty sure that you have to do a background check every time you buy a gun anyway.
Yes,
So I'm
I am
doing
required to check anybody who I transfer a firearm to. Anybody, including me,
You
the
know,
one with the license.
guys, I would like to put forward the federal car insurance license, which requires that before they sell you a car, they have to make sure that you can insure that car.
That sounds like a really good idea, Jack, but it also sounds vaguely familiar.
it sounds wait a
People
minute.
like things that are vaguely familiar, though. It's why, like,
Clearly. I have a proposal for a new law. It's called the National Firearms Act. And what it would do is it would create a specific class of guns that have to be double registered so that
registered.
yeah.
Double background checks and double registry.
It's just like, look, as Democrat politicians go, I have to be honest, I don't really hate on Cory Booker. Like, he's usually not like the one who's out there screaming about blood in the streets and things like that. Like, he's largely inoffensive.
Yeah, he's generally sufferable. There are some certainly insufferable
this
ones.
This bill is largely inoffensive. It's just really dumb.
That's kind of where I was going with this, was that I'm like, Cory, like, how do you not type the name of your bill into Google and go, oh, that's a thing that exists.
Let's be real. Cory Booker didn't write this.
No.
Cory Booker was like, guys, I got to do something to get my name circulated. Gun control stuff's big. What do we got on deck? And they're like, I don't know. Do we expect it to succeed? He's like, God, no, not in this climate. But I got to show that I'm doing something. Otherwise, I won't get several $100,000 in support.
Right.
And there's like some intern 19-year-old who's like, all right, here's your chance, kid. This could be national law one day. Fucking fire it off if you don't mind, and we'll just go about our time.
And again, this is a topic that's come up on this show before, but guys, Google stuff before you do it.
This is big. I wrote my paper the night before energy.
Oh, it really is.
That's exactly
so is. My greatest part here is how you go about getting it. You have to submit fingerprints, proof of identity, and verification that the individual is at least 21 years old. So literally the same process as the NFA. They're like, okay, how do we make this like good?
Yeah, it's just
1934 sounds fantastic.
Guys, remember when in the 30s, as a response to a crime wave, they banned a bunch of guns that weren't being used that much in crime? And then we created a registry. Let's do that, except harder, because that worked. And because there hasn't been any gang crime and no one's been shot with an automatic weapon since 1934.
Correct. It worked 100%. We solved crime. Now we need to solve terrorism, because that's not crime.
Now, if only we could get people to do the exact same thing with drugs.
Oh God! If drugs were, the problem is drugs just aren't illegal enough. Okay,
right? These would be like super mega illegal,
like turbo illegal.
We need to double illegal the drugs.
We need to make them more
double
illegal.
Secret illegal.
Like, and I don't want to turn this like episode into us, ranting about gun control, because that's really none of our shtick, is the political side of things. But it's one of those where I'm like I have to say this somewhere, because obviously I go on Twitter mostly to pressure test my cerebral arteries. But so I'm on Twitter, doom scrolling, and you see all of these nitwit celebrities and people being like, we need more in the wake of this mass shooting in Buffalo. We need more gun control. And I'm like, but that New York has all of the gun control, right? Like, it has like whatever gun control law has been on Moms Demand Hot Actions wish list. They have it in New York. They got them all. They checked all the boxes. You got all the laws. So what other more newer, I guess you should give everyone federal firearms licenses. That's what New York needs, is a federal firearms license for every man, woman, and child.
Everyone gets an FFL. Everyone.
Wouldn't that be cool though if
Oh.
everybody actually had like to sidebar this a little bit? What if the act, instead of being dumb, was like, if you want to buy a gun, you just have to get an FFL, like a proper FFL. All of a sudden, everyone in the country has FFLs, and then they start realizing
really trade anything based on the level of FFL you bought. That would be awesome.
Jack's sitting here like, wait, people don't just trade guns across state lines anyway? What?
Oopsie. Per my lawyer's instructions, I have to reply with, all stories told about Jack are told in a fictitious manner designed to provoke a humorous response, and in no way, shape, or form indicates previous actions or future planned actions on behalf of Jack Clemens LLC.
Remember, it's not illegal to traffic guns in Minecraft.
It turns out that adding LLC makes me limited on my liabilities. So I could just whoopsie daisy out of 2 or 3 felonies a year.
That wasn't a crimes, and then it turns out it was a crimes.
It was crimes all the time.
The secret ingredient is
liability crimes.
Oh my goodness!
That's what the C stands for, right?
Cory Booker, what we're saying is this was dumb. Do better.
Yeah.
If you're gonna come for me, if you're gonna come for my stuff,
just
be an enemy worth fighting.
Go for it.
Write something smart. Write something that makes me think. Do your homework. Next time you're going to be slick, be slicker than a 5-year-old.
Exactly. That is, I think we all have done it where we've read, like we've all applauded the villain at some point in fiction, right? Where you're like, that was a delightful bit of villainy or a well-crafted bit of villainy, and I that's what I want from my anti-gun legislation. I want to read it and go, I disagree with everything about this and I will oppose it to my dying breath, but well-crafted. Your villainy is well-crafted. Your attempts
like
to
you came at this strong, sir, ma'am, or sir and ma'am, depending on, but like if I'm going through this and I'm borderline having an aneurysm just because who didn't check literally any part of this, that not a great swing. But if I'm reading through this, like if I didn't have a deep and abiding knowledge of some of the background that I do, this would make absolute sense to me. This doesn't make sense to me on any level. No.
If you're wondering, it's the same people that keep the metric system down, the stonecutters.
Wait, hang on. I thought the Masons loved the metric system because they're trying to get us all under one world government.
Swing and a miss, wrong group.
Oh, son of a biscuits.
They also made Steve Gutenberg a star.
I'm actually lost in this conversation now.
Okay. I'm not going to explain it to him until after the show, guys. Just understand I am going to keep doing this bit. No, don't search it. I've got plenty more where that came from.
Oh, I'm so excited about this. Speaking of international conspiracies, did you guys, never mind. I was going to get into some of the nutso stuff I've seen around the Buffalo shooting, all of which is pretty nutsos. Like, this is, you don't have to jazz this up to make it crazier. The guy was already crazy. Like, he wrote a manifesto.
Yeah, racist asshole murders people he think are inferior to him or who are messing up the world.
I want to stop.
Like an old punchline. It doesn't need to be more awful than that.
Let's fuck that guy. Let's not talk about him.
Fair.
Let's talk about the security guard. Let's talk about that dude, because that motherfucker's a hero.
That motherfucker is a hero.
He saved lives.
Aaron Salter Jr.
Of all the things, he saved lives. Shooting at a dude who's wearing a plate carrier and is definitely got his murder on, and you going, it doesn't matter if I've only got a handgun and I'm not wearing armor. I'm fucking fighting that guy. That dude.
517 is probably good enough. But think about that, like the number of people that would have punked out in that situation, right? Like,
it's been fine to do it. If you decide you don't want to be in that fight, that I'm not going to call you a bad name.
No.
I'm not going to sit here and say like, oh, you're a piece of how dare you not say? I get it. If you decide not to go, you decided not to go. That guy's a security guard.
Yeah.
He's not an HRT member. He's not Delta Force. But when it came down to it, on the line, that guy signed up and took the ride.
That guy slapped that guy slapped himself on the ass and said, "Let's fucking do it."
Right, like, and that is a terrible situation. And
Yeah.
I hope the perpetrator of this crime is faced with the worst parts that this world can offer. But I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to talk about his ideology. I'm not going to give him 1 second of power. I'm going to give it all to this guy.
Aaron Salter Jr. That's the name of the security guard, retired Buffalo police officer, guy who said, you know what? Fuck this guy.
Today's the day for a gunfight.
Yeah.
He showed up to a gunfight. He happened to lose, but that doesn't mean he wasn't effective.
That is always in the chances. Anytime you get in a gunfight, you have a chance to lose. But this guy lost well, and the time spent fighting him was time that saved other people.
Yeah. Absolutely. When you're catching rounds from the security guards, you're not murdering unarmed people. So yeah.
What, wherever his chosen place is,
Aaron, he's there.
You're tipping it up there, bro.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
If you believe in heaven or Valhalla or whatever sort of happy afterlife, that guy gets to go to that. The Elysian Fields. He's like, why the fuck is Russell Crowe here? What the hell?
Russell Crowe's like, I just like fighting people.
Just a lot. You guys don't understand. I really like hitting people.
World. You're my type, Aaron. You're my type. Welcome. There's a lot of wheat here.
What was the name of the afterlife in the Moon Knight show? The fucking, I think it's like wheat fields or something. He just dies and then he's surrounded by all this grass. I'm like, that seems kind of boring.
So I want to talk about like the wheat field in that thing, and also like in Gladiator when he's walking through and he's like touching that seems really peaceful, but I have allergies to that. So like it feels like hell to me. Like I look at it and they're like, look how peaceful. All the grass, I can just feel my nostrils becoming the sizing of bowling balls. I'm just like, oh no, what have I done wrong?
That pressure starting right here as your eyes start swelling shut, and it just itches like a nightmare, and you start crying because it sucks.
Maybe in the afterlife your allergies go away. You die and you go to that version of heaven and your allergies go away. Or maybe in a competing afterlife theory, just because it's heaven for somebody doesn't mean it's heaven for everybody, and Jack goes to hell and his hell is the same as somebody else's heaven, and it's just he has grass allergies for all of eternity.
If my heaven makes other people sad, that will make my heaven better.
I feel the exact same way.
Like if I'm like, oh, this is great, this is everything I ever wanted, but there's just one thing missing. I turn and look and there's someone having the exact same experience and hating it. I'm gonna be like, yeah,
perfect. Oh man, that is the Moon Knight show was I don't know. I didn't like it that much, but that's just me. Don't come for me in the comments.
I watched 2 episodes. I couldn't keep up.
I haven't even bothered logging in.
We're obviously well off the rails here, which is fine, because I think the beginning of this episode is Cory Booker. What the hell?
Which we couldn't make a whole show about. Like if we'd read that whole thing, it was 5 pages.
Yeah, I could have read the entire bill on the air, and we still wouldn't have gotten to 20 minutes.
Thankfully, we've managed to keep the Martians under wrap, though. And Atlantis off the maps.
We're not getting renditioned again.
Oh God, a bag.
My problem with a show like Moon Knight is I am fundamentally like a 12-year-old child. So when I watch a superhero show or movie, I am there to watch the superhero do their superhero thing, right? Like I don't want to watch a Batman movie where Batman doesn't punch people and do Batman shit. I don't want to watch a show about Moon Knight, who's a character that I have like that much familiarity with, where he doesn't like spend most of it punching people. Was it a great commentary on this guy's mental health issues, and is Oscar Isaac awesome? Yeah, 100% he is. But I need more punching in my punching show, guys. Like,
okay, one, I'm with you 1,000%. When like the superhero show wants to tell me how the superhero's relationship is falling apart, that doesn't make me connect with the superhero. I'm just like, well, yeah, duh. I'm an average dude whose one of his job is being a podcaster, and I can't keep a relationship going pretty well. Like, no kidding, Batman can't hold one down. That's not helpful. I don't care. Like, yeah, duh, we all have problems. Get back to the hurting people.
Yeah, go punch someone in the
Get
face.
back to punchy justice. That's what I'm here for.
No
Give me
one
the
ever
punchy
tells me what
justice.
Frank Castle is bored of eating from his MRE pile. I don't care.
This is why I maintain that one of the best movies that I can remember, because it explicitly promised me something and then delivered on that promise, was the first Pacific Rim movie. The first Pacific Rim movie said, "Would you like to watch robots punch monsters?" And I said, "Yes, yes, I would." And then it said, "Here is 90 minutes of mostly robots punching monsters with like some human dialogue sprinkled in just because we have to do that." I'm like,
we'll
don't.
connect it with the human dialogue, but we will not spend too much time away from monsters being punched by giant robots.
Yeah, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for kaiju fights. I am not here for like feelings. All right, to give me robots
Give me my
punching
kaiju
monsters.
fights.
Yeah, that's 100% it. It's also sort of why I wasn't a big fan of the new Godzilla movies, because again, I'm here for kaiju fights. I don't care about the people. Couldn't care less.
I care about one dude in every Godzilla film, and this guy has been in every Godzilla film that's ever existed. There's one guy. It's a character. It's called Unnamed Soldier. An unnamed soldier's job is to stand there with his battle rifle of choice. I've seen it be a number of things, but with his assault rifle, he looks up at Godzilla, and in a brilliant moment, it transcends humanity. He stops being human and becomes just a soldier. It's just his job. And despite the fact that what he's about to do makes no sense, he raises the rifle up, takes the selector off safe, and begins engaging Godzilla with accurate aim fire.
And then he gets.
Does he help anything? God, no. Is he killed instantly? Right away. Could he have possibly helped in any other number of ways? Perfectly so. But flawed boot camp premises told that guy that he was a rifleman first.
And as we know from episode 20 something, every Marine is not a rifleman, guys.
It's just like
questionable. Very questionable.
Everyone, hell, there are guys in tanks. I don't know what the guy in the tank feels like they're doing, but like if I was the loader and the commander's like, load Sabo, kaiju 2,000 meters, I'd be like, no. He's like, no, load the Sabo. I'm like, it's not happening. I've done the math.
We
this
cannot.
Is 120 millimeters. That is 120 meters. I got. We're not doing this. I'm out. You know what?
Just gets out of the tank and walks off.
We are poking it with 1/1000th of it, and that ain't gonna fly, fam.
It always bugged me though in the kaiju movies. Why wouldn't they like look? JDAMs are real. Like we have bombs that will go through 20 feet of concrete and rebar and then explode. You're telling me one of those wouldn't fuck a kaiju up?
And they don't have to fly anywhere near this thing.
No. That's one of the worst things about the movies. It's like, all right, time to fly this multi-million-dollar fighter aircraft right next to the giant monster. Do I have 20-mile standoff weapons? Yes, but I'm not going to use them.
There are submarines with tactical nuclear torpedoes.
Yeah.
Godzilla would be dead before he ever got near land.
Yeah, just, hang on, let's nuke this thing. Koosh, dead, gone. But, well, unless he feeds on the radiation, which he did in the new movies, which again.
I don't care. It's still okay, no. This pisses me off.
Underwater nuke.
Okay. Nukes don't kill by radiation. That's a side effect of the giant explosion.
They do.
Why do I have to keep talking about the giant explosion? It was not immune to force.
No, but as we have all seen through all the kaiju movies, kaijus, whether it's Godzilla or King Kong or whatever, are selectively vulnerable to plot. Is what they're vulnerable to. That is the true. Is like, does plot say he can get hurt right now?
Yes, plot shields down. He can be hurt for dramatic purposes.
Yeah, exactly.
And does plot say he needs to survive a weapon that will later absolutely kill him? Yes, plot says he gets this one for free.
I mean, it's the same, back to the superhero thing. That's the same as you get with superhero movies.
Oh,
if
yeah.
plot says that his powers work in a certain way, then that's the way that they work until the plot says they don't need to work that way.
And I really don't mind sliding power scale all that much, but you have to take a minute to tell me why.
No, you don't.
You have to take a minute to tell me why. I'm not super on the sliding power scale. Just give me a reasonable explanation as to why it works this time, doesn't work that time, that I can be like, okay, fair.
I'm thoroughly distracted by the cat on your desk. Like, if you guys aren't watching the visual version of this, for like a fucking minute, all you could see was like the tip of the cat's tail waggling back and forth in Keith's face, and then the next thing you saw the whole Katussi like walk across the screen.
No. Unacceptable.
Straight to jail.
All right. No, sir. No, sir. We will. All right, guys, we'd like to thank you for coming to the 53rd episode of Gunday Brunch. There won't be a 54th. It's canceled.
We're all canceled.